Hey, what I got? It's a ticket for Quiet Place, part P1. Oh no, that's abbreviation for Quiet Place. I thought that was a single digit. No, that's probably just short for Quiet Place. Right, okay, never mind. So yes, I've just gone to see A Quiet Place Part 2. I really enjoyed the first part. What a genius idea for a horror movie, eh? This is something that an indie team would come up with, yet in the Hollywood budget. It's so simple yet so engaging. The premise of don't make a sound or they'll hunt you. And they really took advantage of that in the first part. They entice you in the first few minutes of the first part. With they get the medicines. And then very, very tragically you see how these creatures function when the wee boy receives the gift of the rocket. There should have been more discipline on the children's part of that. But it's tragic nevertheless. He's playing the rocket and then the alien goes swoop, because these aliens are blind, but they hunt by sound. They're very sensitive to sound. There was a very intense movie of the remaining family members and one on the way. Look, I endorse life, okay, but did they seriously decide to get pregnant during the invasion? Maybe they'd gotten so comfortable with the way they set up their home that they decided to have one on the way, I guess. Gotta have a life beyond just mere survival, I suppose. So the family had to survive the aliens after a series of accidents. They survive on the farm and the father sacrifices himself to save his children. Very Christ-like motive. Yeah, I'm assuming you've seen the first part. I'm just doing a bit of a recap. And then the girl, who's apparently hard of hearing, had found a way to kill the beasts. The way to kill these alien monsters is they are very, very sensitive to high frequency noises. You turn out the microphone, play like the hearing aid thing, or make that really annoying noise. And the aliens will start going. The weird heads start bouncing about the place. That's when the weak parts are exposed, so BAM! Where the first part left off, the mother, who had gone through quite a birth pang, prepares herself to fight off the aliens. And you think, yes, empowerment! So now, the second part. It starts off going back to that ominous first day, and this was kind of a dummy moment for me, but I realized that the girl from earlier, oh, of course, she was hard of hearing from the start. So it was really clever that they were using sign language early on, so even if there were people who were unfamiliar with this, they get familiar with the concept of sign language, and that this family had been doing sign language for some time, so they were bound to survive well. They care, they look out for one another, and we're introduced to this one other guy who was Scarecrow in Batman Begins. Watching it on the big screen, get ready for some big jump scares. I wish I could say that my cinematic experience could be akin to not even hearing a pin drop. I was trying to keep quiet myself. There are just various moments in this film where the alien will just burst out into the screen and I just go, ah! So what is the plot of the movie anyway? So of course, this is set after the events of the first Quiet Place movie. And the family are just gathering what they can before leaving their farmland. Since the girl, who's hard of hearing, has caught on from his dad's research before he passed on that there are locations for beacons where other people live. So they head to the nearest one where a fire is being lit. Gondor calls for aid! And Rohan will answer. That would be so awesome if Lord of the Rings with Quiet Place, like Gollum sneaking around. So from here on out, I'll try not to spoil anything except one major revelation. I think what works best for this movie, I really feel for this family. Like the girl who's got the hearing issues has a sense of responsibility to help people, so she's eager to do things, but her brother wants her to stay safe, and because he himself is very much afraid, and I can understand why. Not to mention the instant that they tried to get to this warehouse bit where the Scarecrow character lives, they set off an alarm trap thing. Emily Blunt's character just goes, run! The poor kid, he gets his leg stuck in a bear trap. So there are some extremely intense hijinks ensuing. And this family's just running, tremendous acting and emotion being portrayed here. And some brilliant effects going into this. And just sticking to this family, just go, get this thing, close the door. I'm gonna jog here. And for our filmmaking crew, I must admire the fact that it must have been pretty tough to depict this apocalyptic world. I mean, I know that Hollywood's probably done this sort of thing before, but the last film was set in like a farmhouse. They also had to seek out distant places and detail certain areas with brilliant, exquisite details just to further accentuate this world, if that makes sense. Even all the other actors are putting on a great performance. The praying old man at the start, the children, the adults, although there are two particularly weird child actors right at the finale. Though maybe they were born and raised on that safe haven, so... Or maybe they were really well trained to be quiet. Either way, they got these strange looks in their face like, come play with us. Okay, you know what, from here out, I'm pretty much going to spoil the whole thing. Because I'm a monster. So the girl listens in on the radio when they get to a safe spot. And notices a constant frequency of somewhere beyond the sea. She sees it as a hint, and she figures out that there is some safe haven on a distant island. She heads off on her own, nearly gets killed. Again, this film's intense. But fortunately, the Scarecrow saves her. Who's offering fear now, Scarecrow? So is it just me, or would I have imagined a better sleeping spot than the frickin' train station that night? Well, I suppose it's not out in the open, but it's still pretty near the place where one of the intense scenes happened. Because aliens like intensity, apparently. He insists on trying to get her back, but he manages to find a boat, and I think, you know what, let's travel to the safe haven. Maybe find the radio broadcast, and maybe they would have tried contacting the mum and the rest of the family. So there's these creepy sea people who I would assume are guarding the way to the safe haven. Either way, they look really messed up. Maybe they're the rougher side of humanity, but Scarecrow manages to find a way to get out of this very clever trap that they got him in, where a little girl tries to look innocent at first, but trying to play with nets, but when he gets too close, he ties a noose around him, and he's in this net trap where if he moves, he's going to set off all these bells. And people, not saying a word, just kind of give glances, and they're looking at the hearing device. I mean, there's no reason for them to not trust each other, right? Like, why would they go against each other? Maybe there's just some things better left to the imagination, I don't know. But Scarecrow manages to find a way to get away. Well, he's getting the aliens to scratch them up. I've just noticed the aliens hardly eat their prey, do they? I guess they ferociously play a game of tag. Tag you dead, tag you dead, tag you off to me Jamaica, tag. Then again, maybe if they did eat the corpses, this would have been rated 18 instead of 15. So the girl and the guy get on the boat. He very cleverly gets the hearing device in his mouth as he's underwater. and they make it to the safe haven. Why? Because apparently these aliens can't swim, according to the action sequence. So now we know of two weaknesses. A, they are allergic to high frequency sounds, exposing their weak spot. Two, they can't swim. So we see this entire society safe and living a happy life. Except from that one frickin' stupid alien that just chose to stay on the frickin' boat that frickin' bobbed its way to the frickin' island. Intensities ensue, jump scares. The leader, who I think was the guy from Guardians of the Galaxy, Star-Lord. Who? The guy who said who. So then the girl and the man has to run over to the radio station. Those two creepy children I mentioned earlier hide on the stairs. As far as I know, they're safe. Presumably for a potential part 3. And the guy who said who gets killed. But fortunately, the man and the girl, after a very intense sequence, seriously, she was like this close to knocking down a mug or stepping on something that would tumble over. She manages to turn up the radio. Get the stereo there. She turns up. Listen to the radio. Stop singing songs, Callum. She turns up the radio and gets a high frequency sound, which leads to a very inspirational part on both the children who are dealing with monsters, and they both manage to kill the monster. She actually managed to broadcast the frequency sound so that the boy and the girl could kill the monsters in their respective locations. That scene was brilliant. And it gives us potential for part 3, where they make contact and meet up back at the island. Hopefully staying safe from more aliens, right? Right! And hopefully not moving away from their hiding spots for no reason. Right, boy? Seriously, boy. I avoided mentioning this part because this is my only critique of the movie. Look, so there's a scene where the mum at her location at the safe vault in the warehouse has to go out to buy some more medicine and more gas to keep the baby quiet from crying, and even to visit the cross grave of the father and the other son that they had. She tells the boy to stay put, and he says, okay, I'll stay put. He's taking care of the baby. She even says to him, you have everything you need in the most intimate way possible. What does the boy do? He goes out for a exploit. Like, did he need more supplies? I mean, it's hard to pull off visual storytelling, but I think, come on, you have the potential to establish a further reason as to why he went outside, other than scared of the well-being of his mother or something. Was he going out for more supplies? Was he so stressed that he had to go outside? Was he needing some more gas for himself, for his own pain, so he decided to wander out the warehouse? It's never established. As far as I know, he deliberately put himself in danger by wandering around the warehouse, seeing those nice blue coat jackets and hard hats, seeing intimate drawings from the Scarecrow character of the children who got killed, then gets frightened from seeing a corpse, sets up a noise. Aliens come. You stupid kids. Look, I know you've been through a lot. I know that you got your leg caught in a bear trap. That sucks. Yeah, that really sucks. I know taking care of a baby can be stressful enough as it is, but kids, why did you go outside? That's another check mark for dumb decisions made in horror movies. It's just for more horror. We see the Emily Blunt character manage to fend off against a monster. Try setting it on fire with one of the oxygen tanks. Yeah, presumably a good idea, but their skin's impenetrable unless you either A, have the high frequency sound, or B, get them to try swimming lessons because they sink faster than Sonic the Hedgehog, I think. Things get really intense, especially when the alien gets so close, he scratches Emily's leg, like yikes. But there was a really cool ending there to make up for that. And I like how when the boy gets the high frequency broadcast, he's the one to pick up the radio and fight against the monster and kill it. Which also contrasts his sister doing the same thing in the island. Now, another nitpick in this movie is that the ending is kind of abrupt, but I do suppose it did end off on a satisfying arc. The children overcame their fears and challenges. And now, ladies and gentlemen, people of all theorists of the internet, if you listen closely, I'm going to tell you how to kill all the aliens, or almost all of them. You need to get a boat, get a high quality boat, get the high frequency sounds, hire a rock band, any rock band, get some shotguns, sail out and into the ocean, but not too far off from the land, and just have a concert and get everyone on the boats to cheer on in said concert, and then the monsters will... Hello. Yeah, dog will try to come. You're not gonna eat me, or you know you won't. So, get the rock band out of the ocean, jam out, get everyone to cheer. Aliens will try to jump in and try to swim towards the sound of the rock band and potential people playing, and then drown. And if any of them get too close, just get the sound up higher, pop a shotgun, boom, Bob's your uncle, and everyone has a good time. That's how you defeat all the alien monsters. So, in conclusion, how do I rate A Quiet Place Part 2? Maybe not as good as the first one, but it's a great continuation. I'd probably give Quiet Place Part 1 like probably either a 10 or 11 out of 12. I'd probably give Quiet Place Part 2 either a 9.5 or a 10 out of 12. Yeah, I'll give it a 10 out of 12 because I'm giving it a 10 out of 12 for Quiet Place Part 2 because there are just a few things that I thought were mildly dumb, but I don't think that detracted from the intensity and the overall brilliance of this movie. Going back to the cinema, get a ticket to see this and have yourself a good time. Scott Meyer endorses it, and Scott Meyer is signing out.